Well, it appears like it's apology time, and the reason I'm apologizing is because I didn't get to watch SmackDown this week. So I'm actually doing this recap of Extreme Rules without even talking about SmackDown. So I'm just going to skip SmackDown this week because I'm recapping the pay-per-view now, so sorry I didn't get used to that special event. So I am just going to talk NXT sometime in the next couple days, and we'll be good with that. So let's talk about Extreme Rules. And again, this video is going out super late. Why? Because, the pre-show, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, leading all the way to the pay-per-view, and the pay-per-view ending early, basically, I just got finished watching the post-show, which went almost an hour, actually a little bit over an hour, to be totally honest. I'd love to have Kickstart right now, but I'm drinking some Orange Crush, so something to keep my throat from making the weird noises you guys don't like so much. So, let's talk about the show, shall we? I am fully ready to talk about this card. We started off with our WLC match. Excuse me. And the WLC match, of course, would be El Torito, accompanied to the ring by Los Matadores, which I've never seen Primo and Epico look so much like Tito Santana in my life. I know I said a long time ago they're wearing his retreads and everything, but tonight especially, with the green and the gold and the pink Matador cape, Tito Santana's yard sale, they took full advantage. And then they got a seamstress, probably Sandra in this case, to make an absolute duplicate for the other one, so that's pretty much how we got that. And of course, El Torito's taking on Hornswoggle, who I still need to come up with a name for him, and is a new rock star gimmick. Of course, he is now a member of three-man band. 3MB at ringside, Jinder Mahal, Heath Slater, and Drew McIntyre. So, there is actually a mini ring announcer, and there is a mini referee, and there is even a mini announce table with 3 gentlemen at it. You have Micro Cole, you have JB Elf, and he started out as WBL, and then he became JB Elf, and finally you have Jerry the Mini King Smaller, which was Mini Legend Short Sleeve Samson. Well, I thought that was pretty cool. And this is your WLC match. Now, the first thing in my mind when I heard about this match being announced was the fact that they were going to use many tables, many ladders, many chairs. All of this happened. And you know what? I'll say something I didn't think I would say. This was kind of fun, I'm not going to lie. So, we come back from the first break. This actually goes 2 segments. And 3MB have attacked the Matadors on the floor. Hornswoggle tosses Torito in, and Heath Slater scoop slams one of the Matadors on a ladder. Still can't tell the two apart. I know I could tell Primo and Epico's faces apart, but Diego and Fernando I cannot tell apart. And there's nothing about either one of their gears that makes it easier. At least Jimmy and Jey Uso, sometimes the announce team throw me a bone and tell me who's who, but still don't get it. So there's a mini chair shot to the ribs, and he springboards off the mini chair with a seated senton. He puts the chair on the ribs, and he goes for his version of Rolling Thunder, and he splashes Torito, gets a 1 count off of it, slams him on the floor, and he clears the mini table, puts Torito on the table, climbs to the ring apron, and plays a little air guitar and elbow drop off the apron through the mini table. So Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre put the ladder in the ring. And another table, of course. So Hornswoggle with an unprotected chair shot to the horn of El Torito in this case. I saw the joke on Twitter. That's going to equal out to a pretty small fine. Oh boy. So, at this point, Slater holds El Torito, and Slater gets knocked off the apron through 3 tables that were stacked. Somehow that happened. McIntyre holds, and Hornswoggle climbs up the ladder, puts Torito on top of the ladder, does Drew, and there's a punch-off. The Matadors pick up Jinder Mahal, and Torito comes off with a crossbody onto Jinder, and they all go into the carnage, which are ladders and tables all over the floor. It was vicious. So Hornswoggle puts Torito on the table. McIntyre misses the somersault, and he goes through a mini table, and Torito with a chair shot to the back of the head. Basically, he back chair shots him in the head. He's down, and he throws the chair backwards. It hits him in the head. So Torito sends Slater through the table, and we get a springboard. He basically uses his strength to spring him up to the top from the ring apron, hits the seated senton with Hornswoggle right in front of the table and puts him through the table and gets the 3 off that one. So Torito wins this WLC match. Honestly, I enjoyed this. First and foremost, didn't think that was going to happen, but I did, and kudos for WWE putting something into this match. They both really put on their working boots tonight. I'll say that a lot in this show. There's a lot of people that really brought it tonight, so yeah. That's one thing I'm going to mention. I got to get away from the sun here. It's driving me insane. So, that was the pre-show. That was the pre-show kickoff match. And then if you actually got to the pay-per-view, the first... God, I gotta stop calling it pay-per-view. It's a special event now. So, the beginning of the show... That'll make it easier. The beginning of the show is the 3-way dance. And I can say legitimately 3-way dance because it was announced on SmackDown that this would be an elimination match. Which means on an Extreme pay-per-view, you had a traditional ECW-style 3-way dance. This featuring Rob Van Dam, Jack Swagger, and Cesaro. So, Paul Heyman comes out and he says that there's an 11th commandment, thou shalt not boo Paul Heyman. And, of course, he went on to mention Brock Lesnar breaking The Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania again. And really heel-friendly crowd tonight in at Izod and East Rutherford, New Jersey tonight. So let's talk about the match, shall we? Swagger goes for the Swagger Bomb on Van Dam, gets a cover 1-2 and a kick out, and Cesaro catches him with a spine buster into the Giant Swing. Giant Swing is stopped with a wheel kick from Rob Van Dam. 1-2 and a kick out. Van Dam with a scoop slam on Cesaro, goes up top, and Swagger ends up catching him with a face buster into the Patriot Lock. Van Dam fights out of it, kicks off Swagger, and gets caught with a springboard 180 Swiss uppercut from Cesaro. He goes up top, he gets caught with a Swiss uppercut, and he does the apron-in superplex. And when Swagger lands on the canvas hard, Van Dam hits the 5-star frog splash and eliminates him from the match. So we have our first elimination quick in the match. So, Van Dam charges Cesaro in the corner with a wheel kick, and he misses. He gets tied up in the top rope, and of course he eats the diving Swiss uppercut, 1-2 and a kick out. He hits a rolling version of the deadlift side salto, which looked awesome. Got a 2 off that. Whip in, and of course, backflip, lands on his feet, and step over into the spin kick, and that is countered into a German suplex, 1-2, Van Dam kicks the shoulder up. Goes to the middle rope and crowns Rob Van Dam to the floor and tosses him hard into the barricade. Cesaro climbs up. This is an awesome spot. I like this. Obviously, I knew it was going to happen. This is a Rob Van Dam match, so obviously this happens. Cesaro climbs up on the barricade. He tells the fans to move first. Climbs up the barricade. Presumably, if he was actually going to hit something, I would say he was going for the double stomp. Well, of course, Van Dam crotches him and sweeps the legs, and he lands precariously placed over the barricade. Gee, I wonder what's about to happen. And sure enough, Van Dam goes to the ring apron like he always does and hits the corkscrew leg drop to the back of the neck of Cesaro, knocking him over the rail. So he gets back into the ring, comes off the ropes, goes for Rolling Thunder, hits it 1-2 and a kick out, split-legged moonsault 1-2 and a kick out. Van Dam grabs a garbage can. This is Extreme Rules, mind you. So Cesaro baseball slide drop kicks the can into Van Dam's face, slightly cutting him open underneath the eye, actually. So he tosses him in, and Cesaro throws into the dented can, and he picks him up, picks up the can like he's going to swing, and of course he gets caught with a body scissors roll up. Van Dam gets a 2 off of that. Cesaro goes to go for a connection on the swing again. Of course, he eats the Van Daminator, which I was dying to see because it's been a minute since Rob Van Dam's used the Van Daminator with a chair. It was interesting to see when he brought out the garbage can. I thought he was going to go for the Van Terminator, but he ended up doing the Van Daminator, which I really wanted to see because I haven't seen that in a while. And given the fact that this was an Extreme Rules match, apparently, no DQs, I guess, sure. So because of that factor, he was able to hit the Van Daminator with the garbage can. He drapes the can across the chest of Cesaro. Of course, it is basically reduced to nothing at this point. Goes up top for the 5-star. Leaps off. Cesaro moves out of the way and thrusts the can up, basically letting Van Dam destroy the rest of it with the 5-star. He cranks the neck, Gotch-style neutralizer, 1-2-3 on the can itself, or what's left of it, and Cesaro wins the 3-way dance to open up the show. I like this match, actually. I think that we've not seen the end of Cesaro, Van Dam, and Swagger. I think this goes to Payback. I think we have one more match at Payback, potentially, involving the 3 of them. I still think it's a good idea. It would have been an idea, honestly, to put Van Dam over in this match and send him towards Wade Barrett in the Intercontinental title. Whoops, gave away something that's coming up in a couple segments. But still, I do think that there is probably some more mileage in this feud before Cesaro goes on to bigger and better things. And by bigger and better things, I think there is a probability at this point Cesaro wins Money in the Bank. That's what I'm going to go with. I think Cesaro wins Money in the Bank. And I don't know when he would cash in, but I want Cesaro to win Money in the Bank. I think that's a good bet right now. Cesaro's got a good chance to win Money in the Bank. I would have called Wade Barrett winning Money in the Bank, and I've said he would before, and he was going to before he got injured, but I will say at this point that I think the Intercontinental title will be a nice boost, and I think it's actually going to rebuild the championship, but I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? We haven't even got to Barrett winning the title yet, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Brian's getting his arm checked out by a trainer in the back, and you know what? I can't help but think that this reminds me of the scene where Rookie of the Year, basically they're checking on Henry Rowan Gardner's arm, and of course it slaps the doctor and he says funky butt lovin'. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Obviously Van Dam. Obviously Dana Bryan didn't slap anyone, but it still gave me that vibe. So Stephanie comes in and Bryan basically is like, what the hell are you doing here? She says, King cannot be controlled. I'm afraid for you. I'm afraid for Brie. I'm afraid for your mother to have to watch your decimation. You know what? I'm going to give you an out here. You could surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and just don't have this match. And Bryan, of course, says, Stephanie, get out of my face. I'm going to walk in as champion, and somehow, someway, I'm going to walk out the same. So Stephanie, of course, calls his bluff and says, you know what? You won't be walking out the champion. You'll walk out... What was that thing that Brie called me on Monday night? Oh, yeah. Kane's bitch. We get a new promo for Bo Dallas, and again, getting people to Bo leave, which I do Bo leave. And I like the fact they're bringing Bo Dallas up. Obviously, the fact that he is in a match with Big E where his NXT career is on the line, so it made me think that he may not have a good chance to win that match. Yeah. That also saying that the last several weeks of NXT have been taped, and Paige defended the Divas Championship on them, so that was pretty much a big red flag that Paige was definitely going to retain, and Tamina had no chance of winning tonight. But we can talk about that. So the Ravishing Russian, Lana, comes out. Oh dear God. Such a gorgeous woman, she really is. I mean, I love me some Summer Rae, and everyone knows that. And I love Paige, and I love Emma, and I love AJ Lee. But Lana, just, there's something about her, obviously. Everybody in the world likes Lana, though, so it's funny, because there was actually a chant tonight that said, "We love Lana. We want Lana." Which is hilarious, because I was like, yeah, everyone, every red-blooded American male in the world, and not American male in the world, probably do want Lana as well. So there's going to be a nice little fight for her. So, of course, that meant that we're getting our squash of the evening, which is Alexander Rusev against Xavier Woods and R-Truth, this handicap match that was set up. And Lana comes out and says that basically Rusev moved to Russia, so yay, he's officially a Russian gimmick now. How appropriate. But still calling him the Bulgarian Brute. Obviously, he's still the super athlete, so there you go. She basically said she dedicated the match to the Russian President Vladimir Putin, which was interesting, to say the least. And this match just starts quick, and Truth and Woods try to get the upper hand. The first thing immediately, before the bell rings, you have that Muay Thai kick, and just takes Woods out. Takes him out completely. Into Truth, which knocks him off the apron. So what ends up happening is we have a Northern Lights throw. It's the only thing I'd really call that. It's a Northern Lights throw on Truth on Woods on the floor, and Xavier Woods is completely taken out of this match. Completely. Matter of fact, they get trainers to check on him and everything. So let's talk about the match from the midway point. Truth finally gets the upper hand, hits the axe kick, and gets a 2 off of it. Goes for little Jimmy, and of course it gets caught, and he goes for the fall away. Truth lands on his feet, and spinning heel kick. So Truth ends up getting caught with the high crotch into the swinging slam. Locks on the Accolade, and that's it. So after the match is over, Lana basically points at Woods on the floor and Rusev Crush, and Crush being the fall-away slam on the floor on Woods, and that's the end of that. So, yeah, just a squash. I really hope they're not going... I see how they're doing this, I get it, but I mean, if they're not going to do anything with Alexander Rusev, I wouldn't have brought him up yet, honestly. He may still be good to have stayed in NXT for a little bit longer. I'm not saying anything bad about NXT. I love NXT. Obviously, I recap it on this channel weekly. So, there's always that. But Rusev, I don't think is ready yet. I don't think he's ready for the main roster. Well, okay. I think he's ready for the main roster. I just don't think they have anything for him. I think they need to legitimately start something on Raw on tonight. Since this is Monday's video. We need to start something on Raw tonight where basically we can find out who this guy's going to be fighting against. Feuding against Sheamus would have worked, but Sheamus is going heel, so yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't know who Rusev's going to get sicked on next. I hope they do something with him, though. You know, honestly, really want to do something about this? I mean, you could do Rusev against Santino. Do Rusev against Santino on Raw tonight, and have Emma get involved, and Lana. But the problem with that is I don't know if Lana's trained or not. She might be. I think she's only a valet. But then again, if you're a valet, you still should know how to bump. So maybe we'll see Lana in the ring against Emma somewhere down the line if we do that kind of a storyline. But we still haven't really resolved the Fandango Santino saga yet. So I don't know. I mean, I think that we're going to see another Rusev squash on Raw tonight, but I think they probably should be building towards something. By SummerSlam, I think Rusev needs to be having competitive matches against people and looking like he might lose, even though he probably won't for a bit. He'll be protected for a little bit, so I can see that. We get Evolution in the back with Renee Young, and speaking of gorgeous women, basically... The line is, the Shield thinks that our egos will be our downfall. Well, we do have massive egos, but they're rather deserved. 31 World Heavyweight Championships. The Shield will perish. Believe in that, and they throw out the fists. So that actually works. It was okay for what it was. It was building the main event. One of the main events of the show. There's 3 of them, so there you go. Intercontinental title on the line. Big E defending against Bad News Barrett. And before I even start talking about this match, Barrett hits the Cactus Jack elbow off the apron. The hip buster. The elbow off the ring apron. And before he hit the hip buster, you could tell that it was a Cactus Jack line. It was definitely shouting out Mick Foley, because Barrett yells bang bang and throws out the guns before he hits the elbow. So I was like, that was pretty awesome of Barrett to do that. This match was fine for what it was, and Barrett gets caught with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. And then, of course, we get our normalcy from Big E. Clothesline, and ducks Barrett's clothesline, belly-to-belly suplex. Charges in with a shoulder in the corner and hits the Vader attack. And he goes for a suplex on the apron. He gets blocked. Barrett with an overhand right and a shoulder. This time, basically knocking Barrett off the apron. In essence, basically speared him to the floor. So that worked pretty well. Tosses him in 1-2. Barrett kicks out. So Big E goes for the big splash. He runs off the ropes. Barrett gets up, catches the Winds of Change, 1-2, and a kick out. Stomps him in the face. Whip in reverse and charges in. Goes shoulder first in the ring post. Does the Intercontinental Champion. Big E catches Wasteland, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the bull hammer. This time he gets caught into an STO, 1-2, and a kick out. Big splash connects this time. Drops the straps, goes for the big ending, and the big ending is countered with Barrett sliding down the back and shoving Big E chest first into the buckle. He readies the bull hammer. The fans are going crazy for Barrett this whole match. Big E ducks the bull hammer, comes off the ropes, and eats a running bull hammer for the 3 count. Bad News Barrett is the new Intercontinental Champion, and it is about time. This is make it or break it time for Wade Barrett. It really is. I've been saying since day one, since back in the original NXT seasons, back during the Nexus times, and I even stuck during the Core, and I even was a proponent of the bare knuckle fighter, where the shirt comes from. And I like the Bad News Barrett persona. I will say this is one of the most over gimmicks he's had in a long time. He's got the crowd to chant and clap bad news with him. And I'm completely for that. I think this is the time that Wade Barrett needs to shine. I think he needs to become a credible challenger to where eventually you can have him go after Daniel Bryan, and we can get a battle of former Nexus members, and I think that would be an awesome feud. So yeah, I was really enjoying that match. Like I said, Big E hopefully will rejuvenate himself, and he'll move on, do something else at this point. Big E and Sheamus might not be a bad feud, honestly. When Sheamus goes heel, I think that's actually not a bad idea. Have Sheamus and Big E feud. Or you basically set it up on the match that I was not able to talk about, obviously, because I missed this weekend, because I've been super busy this weekend, is maybe a feud with Titus O'Neil. Like the Titus O'Neil feud. You can actually give that to Big E instead. So maybe that'll happen. Oh God, let's talk about our next match. And this match was a doozy. 6-man tag team action. The Shield, United States Champion Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins taking on Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. And before we get started, obviously Evolution come out. They're clad in black, except for Batista, who apparently didn't get the memo that we wear black on Extreme Rules Sunday. Sorry, Dave. Got the Ken Shamrock look going on somewhat. So I know you want to put over your discipline and everything. I get that, but couldn't you have made black tights for him? Come on, I mean, there was a lot of black gear in this match. So Batista sticks out like a sore thumb in this match when it comes to gear. That is. I need this drink for this one, trust me, because we're gonna have a little ride here. So we get midway through this match, and a short arm clothesline from Batista on Dean Ambrose, and tagging a Randy Orton, whip in, and a big clothesline out of the corner. 1-2, Ambrose kicks out, drags him in the middle of the ring, and he stomps the back locks on a chin lock, and Ambrose basically fights out and escapes. Ambrose gets caught with a standing dropkick, 1-2, and a kick out. Tagging a Triple H, big right hand drops Ambrose, and the second time does it again. Pounds away in the corner, whip in, charges in. Ambrose gets the boot up, but eats the spine buster, 1-2. Ambrose kicks out. Tagging to Batista. Batista comes in, whip in, and elbow. Just mows him over, 1-2, and a kick out. Chinlock with a body scissors. Maybe a modified rear naked choke, depending on how you're looking at it. And Ambrose counters with a jawbreaker and eats the big boot from Batista for his troubles. Tagged back into Triple H. Goes for the pedigree, gets countered with a back body drop, and Ambrose boot in the midsection, DDT, and hot tag into Roman Reigns, tagging to Batista, and Roman with a clothesline. Whip in, reverse, ducks the clothesline, and a leaping clothesline. Randy Orton comes to the ring, he eats the leaping clothesline. Charges in with a clothesline in the corner, big right hand, and clotheslines Randy Orton over the top rope to the floor. And Triple H goes to attack him on the floor. He ducks that, hits the leaping drop kick to the side of the head of Batista while he's draped across the middle rope. We've seen it so many times. Clotheslines Triple H for good measure and tosses him hard in the barricade. Boot in the midsection, Batista bomb set up, and it is stopped with the knee strike off the springboard from Seth Rollins. And the Superman punch on Batista does connect. Shield setting up the Cerberus bomb, and Randy Orton and Triple H smartly pull Roman Reigns out before the 3 count can be completed. So Rollins hits the barricade when he goes for a tope on Triple H, and the Superman punch misses. Pedigree on Roman Reigns, and Ambrose and Triple H start brawling on the floor. Batista ends up making the cover, 1-2, and no, Reigns kicks out. He's not done yet. Randy Orton slithers in, pun not intended, and RKO on Roman Reigns. Batista makes the cover. Rollins makes the save. So Orton pulls Rollins to the floor. They start brawling. Orton gets sent to the barricade, and Orton and Triple H end up grabbing Seth Rollins in Justin Roberts land, basically. And Ambrose runs off both announce tables and basically just barrels into Triple H and Randy Orton on the floor. Ambrose pounds away on Orton, and Triple H and Seth Rollins are brawling in the crowd. Orton and Ambrose meet them in the crowd, and Ambrose gets sent down the steps courtesy of a right hand from Randy Orton. So basically, we get them battling at this point, and Ambrose is about to be just destroyed by Triple H and Randy Orton. And then out of nowhere, Seth Rollins shows his inner New Jack, and he dives off the rail of the upper deck with a high cross body onto both members of Evolution as well as Dean Ambrose. So, a tremendous spot there. And Reigns ends up eating the spine buster from Batista in the ring. He signals for the end, goes for the Batista bomb, gets countered, eats the Superman punch. Roman sets up and spears Batista out of his boots. 1, 2, 3, and the Shield win this contest. What a match between these 6 men, and this is not over, not by a long shot. There is a reason to believe, if you believe what people are saying right now, that obviously with Guardians of the Galaxy coming up, Batista's got to do some promoting. And he was supposed to be, rumor has it, just rumors, all about rumors, that's it. Batista is going to leave after Extreme Rules to go do press. Well, apparently there was it's been rescinded, and there's a possibility he's going to stay until Payback. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to continue this program, you would have had Evolution go over. At least that's what I think. But then again, you did that with John Cena. It makes me scratch my head, literally. I mean, you did that with John Cena and Bray Wyatt. If you wanted the program to continue, you have Cena lose the first match at WrestleMania. It did not happen. So, yeah, speaking of that, that's what we call segue, folks, because that's the next match we're going to talk about. But before that, Evolution of the Shield, one of the best matches of the night, easily the best match of the night. And John Cena and Bray Wyatt were up next inside a steel cage, and they had a lot to live up to. Oh boy, there's a lot of things to talk about in this match. So, let's do this. John Cena against Bray Wyatt, of course, with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan in his corner, and John Cena has no friends. So, there's always that. So Cena climbs the cage, and it seemed like every time he climbed the cage, you'd have Luke Harper or Eric Rowan basically stopping him from winning. Interesting. So, Cena climbed the cage, and Bray goes for his Exorcist crab walk towards the door. So, Cena jumps down to try to make the save. Bray kicks him off, ducks the clothesline, and gets nailed with a Fall of Humanity 1-2 and a kick out. Throws Cena face first into the cage, like up into the cage, twice, and he goes for the third time, and Cena reverses and sends Bray Wyatt hard into the cage. Ducks the clothesline, shoulder block, ducks Bray's clothesline, and protobomb. 5-knuckle shuffle, goes for the AA, and Bray ends up countering it by climbing up the cage and gets caught with a boot. Cena knocked off, and Cena catches Bray with a sit-out powerbomb off the top rope. 1-2, and Bray kicks out. So he opens the door. So Cena's going towards the door. Eric Rowan closed the door. He's like, nope. So Cena tries to force the door open, and then Luke Harper comes over. So Harper and Rowan are trying to keep John Cena from exiting the cage, and of course, John Cena is Superman, if the internet leads you to believe that. And he basically powers through, and he's about ready to open the door, and Bray Wyatt nails him from behind. And he catches him with an over-the-shoulder jawbreaker, which looked vicious. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Shane Douglas in WCW used this, and he called it the Franchiser. Danny Doring used this in ECW and called it the Bareback. This looked awesome, and it looked vicious as all get out. So Bray, of course, goes upside down, and he goes for the leaping back senton, and he misses. Cena climbs the cage yet again. Rowan's off at the bottom, and he climbs up. Rowan grabs Cena on his shoulders in a game of chicken, basically, and just muscles him over the top. So Cena's not getting out of this cage. It's not going to happen at this point. Rowan and Harper are going to make sure, as long as they have the possibility, they're going to keep him from exiting. So Bray climbs up, and Cena face busters him off the top. 1-2, Bray kicks out. Cena climbs up again. Harper goes up to meet him, and they fight on top of the cage, and basically that's just hyperbole because he just basically gets beat up on the cage, and Cena ends up pulling Luke Harper into the ring, thus preventing Harper from stopping John Cena from exiting anymore. Eric Rowan is now the only person that's able to do that. So Harper gets sent hard into the cage. And he knocks him off. They open the door again. So Cena ends up kicking the door into Bray, and Rowan grabs a steel chair to stop Cena. Boot in and a suplex-style throw. Leaping back senton, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for Sister Abigail. Gets countered. STF. And Bray's crawling towards the door. Cena breaks the hold, and Cena ends up dragging Bray to the center of the ring. Rowan ends up grabbing Bray, and they both have a tug-of-war for Bray Wyatt at this point. Harper gets into the cage, and Cena goes hard in the cage. Bray climbs up, and Cena goes after him. He hits the AA off the middle rope, and Cena covers. Harper makes the save before the 3 count, and Cena clotheslines Harper. He tried to do the lariat, but didn't really work this time. Cena sells the arm and climbs up. Rowan climbs up. Cena grabs Rowan by the beard and slams him hard in the steel. Cena leg drop to Luke Harper's back of his neck, and Cena crawls back, looking back, and we get a wide interruption. Lights go out. We see a small child with a Ole Anderson-style Black Scorpion voice that is extremely muffled and not cool like Roger Jackson in Scream. No, it's just kind of like messed up, and it's very garbled. And this demonic voice, like protruding from this small child, this innocent child, is singing. Of course, he's got the whole world in his hands, at the steps, just staring at John Cena, just like eerily creeping into his soul like it's the Children of the Corn. And of course, when he turns around, Bray makes him eat Sister Abigail, and instead of pinning him, which would have been awesome, because then Bray Wyatt would get a pinfall whenever John Cena, he exits the cage just like I predicted, hugs the child, and Rowan and Harper walk the child hand in hand back to the back. They stand on the top of the entranceway, and Cena is left dumbfounded to what just happened. Bray Wyatt does the "you can't see me," and they walk hand in hand with this child, who is now to be known as Little Johnny, apparently. Okay, this was a lot to follow the six-man tag, and it was never going to live up to expectation. A lot of people say this was overbooked. Basically, this was done so you could make it a case that John Cena just could not escape. There was no way John Cena was ever going to escape, because Rowan and Harper would never let it happen. Regardless how many times Bray was down, Harper and Rowan always had his back. But also, you still eliminate the one issue we've already had, and that is the fact that we still don't have a pinfall loss for John Cena yet. Will this happen at Payback? I think it's a possibility. I think it needs to happen at Payback. I think this would be interesting to see maybe John Cena lose this feud. I think that'd be nice. And then Bray could go on to bigger and better things. I don't know what Cena would do next. I don't know who his next feud would be with. I mean, there's no one that really jumps to mind right now who John Cena could work with. So, I mean, there's maybe just working with the Wyatt family for a little bit longer, and then just there's only one other option. That's right, heel turn. But there's just so many things. If you really want to do it, and you know you really want to do it, you have to do so much more in order to get him to turn. And it looks like more and more that's never going to happen. If it does happen, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to rejuvenate Cena's career. But the problem with that is all the Make-A-Wish, all the things that John Cena the man does, not John Cena the wrestler, is the fact that he is an idol to children. And this turning him heel would thus take away a lot of really, really valuable merchandise money. So, yeah. Unless they could figure out a way to spin that. And with the Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks shirt the WWE shop actually sold for a bit. And still do, I guess. It's still on the site, I'm pretty sure. It's probably buried. It's still on the site somewhere. So yeah, it was interesting to see what happens from here. I do think Bray Wyatt needs to go over in this feud completely. I think you do it backwards. Like, Cena won the first match at WrestleMania. I think Cena loses the feud. And by SummerSlam, Bray Wyatt and John Cena are both feuding with different people. At this point, I don't know exactly who that would be right now, but it's late, so yeah, I'm not really thinking straight. We get our semi-main event, ends up being the Divas Champion Paige taking on Tamina Snuka. This match was okay. I will say right now, the crowd really were not into this at all, and they kind of the match kind of suffered because of that, and really, really poor officiating. But midway through the match, Paige goes for a snap run off the ring apron, ends up getting blocked, and swung hard in the barricade. Tamina tosses her in, going with the Samoan drop, but she decides to, instead of drop back with it, she picks her up and carries her to the top. So we're getting a top rope Samoan drop, gets countered into a sunset powerbomb, and 1, 2, 3, and Paige retains. Well, that's what really happened. The 3 count did go down, but apparently announcers put it over as the fact that the referee made the 3 count, but she kicked out right at 3, so yeah, I guess that's what they're going with. It was really a botched call from the ref there. Paige with an awkward Shining Wizard style satellite and on the head scissors, pushes her to the ropes and ducks the clothesline, and Tamina catches her with the body slam into the swing Uranagi 1-2 and a kick out. Goes for the super kick, it gets countered, lock in the Scorpion cross lock, and that's the submission. Paige wins. Obviously, we're building towards Paige and AJ Lee. Don't know if it'll happen at Payback. I don't think it'll happen at Payback. I think at this point, if it was me, I would do some sort of a multi-divas match tonight. I know that's done to death, I'm aware, but multi-divas match tonight to determine who's going to be taking on Paige at Payback, because I don't know if Tamina Snuka gets a rematch. I don't think there's a reason why, but yeah. So we get our final segment before the main event, and the Wyatt family, of course, are with the new demonic child, Little Johnny. He says, "You did well, very well, Little Johnny. My message could no longer be ignored. Cena now stands alone with the vanquished lonely souls," that pretty much were caused by him. And the little child puts on the mask and tells Cena to follow the buzzards. Once again, speaking of ECW, this reminded me a whole lot of the storyline that Raven did with Sandman and Sandman's son, Tyler Fullington. That's pretty much what this reminded me of. And I'm sure that's going to be said a lot in these recaps that you're going to see throughout the days. But yeah, it was really there. Only thing that wasn't done was a little child throwing out the crucifix pose that Bray does. That Raven did, obviously. That's the only thing that really wasn't there. I don't know who this person is, who this child is that's playing Little Johnny. I mean, I don't think it's Bray Wyatt's son. I don't recall what his son looks like. The age might line up. I mean, it could be. I don't know. Or if this is just someone else. We don't know exactly anything about this kid. I'm trying to find information. I can't really find anything as of right now. So I'm not going to try to look like I know more than I do. I'm just going to say that he could be Bray Wyatt's son, or he might literally be Bray Wyatt's son, or he just could be somebody WWE just hired to do this really creepy role. But yeah, this will continue, apparently. And I don't know what kind of stipulation match. I don't really know where you go with this. I really want the Cena Wyatt barbed wire match that I talked about a while ago. But yeah, cage matches used to end feuds, and now they prolong them. Okay. I don't know what the feud is to end this. You could do... I mean, I don't know, you can do I Quit match, you do First Blood match, but Cena and I Quit matches, they're pretty much done to death. So you gotta do something else, something different. So yeah, something where the Wyatt family cannot get involved. Obviously a cage, still they got involved. So I mean, yeah, there's so many things you can go with this. We get our main event of the evening, it's up next. It is Daniel Bryan defending the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Kane in an Extreme Rules match. We go midway through this match. They basically went Attitude Era and they just decided to fight in the back. And eventually, Bryan grabs a tire iron and hits Kane in the face with it. Kane's out. Try eating 300 pounds of dead weight? Not going to happen. What does he do? He puts him on a pallet that is on a forklift. And Bryan drives that forklift back into the arena. And utilizes the fact that he comes from a small town in Washington. And he drives that forklift the best he very well can. And he backs him into the arena. He raises it up in the air. It's above the top rope. And basically Kane just ends up getting knocked off of it. Bryan climbs the top of the pallet on the forklift and hits the Swan Dive headbutt. 1-2, Kane kicks out. So he charges in and Kane goozles him. Chokeslam, 1-2, and a kick out. So Kane grabs a steel chair. Goes for the tombstone on the chair. It gets countered into a DDT out of that. On the chair, 1-2, and a kick out. Chair shot to the back. 10 times over and over and over and over again. Goes to the yes lock. And just like everyone predicted, he locks on the yes lock with the Singapore Cane. For good measure. And of course, Kane's not going to give it up. And Kane ends up inching himself out of the ring, and that breaks the hold. He goes for the tope, gets caught, choke slam right through the announce table. Kane tosses Bryan in, grabs a table, so the fans are going crazy for this. Sets the table up outside, grabs a gas can, pours the contents of the gas can on the table, pulls out a lighter, and what does he do? Flick, 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 and whew, a big gust of flame comes out. We have a flaming table in 2014, folks, in a PG era. So, they're fighting on the ring apron, and Bryan with a kick to fight out of it, and he basically just slings the ropes and Kane goes through the flaming table, which looked awesome, but I really wish they would have done something with it. Probably the least dangerous option of the entire possibilities, but still could have been something, like a drop kick or something. But yeah, if they want to do that, at least do something. But basically, Kane took the nasty plunge through the flaming table, and the referees went at Kane with fire extinguishers to put him out after the blaze. Kane gets in the ring, eats the fire-breathing knee, and that's the end. So Bryan retains, and after the match is over, Kane is up again and conjures up his pyro, and basically he's like, this isn't over. So it's weird that after the show, it was alright. Good back and forth match. It was a lot to follow from what happened tonight. Obviously, after the match with the Shield and Evolution, you couldn't really follow that. So basically, you would just have to be the best you possibly could and put the best match on you could. you weren't trying to steal the show, really. You were just trying to provide great entertainment, and everything really brought it tonight. There was this weird press conference that was on the post-show, and Bryan was talking to some reporters who we never saw, and they weren't even using fake flashbulbs or anything. So yeah, real good fake reporters. So basically, Bryan said that Kane's not done. Kane. He is not sure if Kane's done with him, but he's not done with Kane. This isn't over. He says in the Independents he had a chant called "You're gonna get your head kicked in." And I like how he brought that back, that Ring of Honor chant. The press conference also brings out the Wyatt family, which was weird and disjointed and should not have been there. He says he came from nothing, he was never anything, and tonight he's something. So then the family flip the table and they bum out. So the Shield were talking. Rollins says justice was simply a metaphor because there was a lack of intensity in the WWE. How true. And Big E basically didn't want to be there, and he kind of answered questions mockingly. Wade Barrett put over things. Cesaro and Paul Heyman put over things. It was just really weird to see press conference after the show was over. All in all, I enjoyed this pay-per-view, or special event. What I would check out here, Torito and Hornswoggle wasn't bad. If you haven't seen it, I would. Van Dam, Cesaro, and Swagger, I've seen these three in good singles matches and good three-way dances, but this match was good. I enjoyed it. I like Rusev, but it's not the right time, and I'd skip that match, honestly. Big E and Barrett was good. I liked it. I will say that the Shield and Evolution was the match of the night. Really enjoyable. Bray Wyatt and John Cena was okay. I liked the really weird out there finish. Kane and Bryan was okay. Paige and Tamina was fine. So yeah, it was an okay show. It really was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. So yeah, there's always that. So wrestling fans, join me tonight for Tuesday's video, which will be Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about the fallout from this pay-per-view, which we just discussed, as well as potential things that are going to be happening on Raw tonight. Like, fallout from the show, and like, is Sheamus finally going to turn heel tonight? Is that going to happen? We get the WWE debut of Adam Rose tonight. That's going to be something I really look forward to, because I am definitely an Adam Rose fan. I am definitely a Rosebud. And proud of it, too. I'll have the shirt very soon to prove that. Who knows when Bo Dallas is going to debut. I know that Jason Jordan is supposed to be on television this week. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with him. But Jason Jordan was asked to be on the show this week. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do with that, because that's a very interesting name to pull out of NXT Obscurity. So, yeah. I'm interested to see where we're going to go with this. I mean, the pay-per-view was good, and like I said, it was very enjoyable. And let me see if I can find this here. Where are you? This is a great thing to do in the middle of the video, isn't it? Yeah, I can't find the information I'm looking for here, but yeah. I think Jason Jordan's going to be on there, so yeah, that's something. And, Baron Corbin, yeah, that's the other one. Baron Corbin, I didn't even look up. Well, I am looking up, but it's not there. So Baron Corbin is also possibly going to be on television this week. I don't know what that's going to mean, but we'll see. So yeah, interesting to see where we go from here. The fallout of the Shield defeating Evolution. Is there going to be repercussions from the Authority tonight? Is that going to happen? Or Triple H just going to suck it up and realize who the better men won over? So that could possibly be the case. Who's going to be the next challenger for Bad News Barrett in the Intercontinental Championship? Will Dean Ambrose ever defend the United States Championship? What I think is going to end up happening is this is also going to build up to things. I think that to get anything on the Shield, I think you got to take the U.S. title off Ambrose, and I think that ends up happening. I think week after week, show after show, I think they're going to start putting more roadblocks in his path to potentially losing the United States Championship. The Usos still on a collision course, looks like, with Ryback, so yeah, that's probably going to continue tonight. And who knows, maybe they'll put the titles on Ryback and Curtis Axel. It may happen somewhere down the line, who knows. Where do Bryan and Kane go from here? An Inferno match would be interesting. I'd like to see that, actually. but I don't think they're going that direction, especially not in a PG era, but I could be wrong. I did talk about Bray Wyatt and John Cena in a barbed wire match, but still, I know it's not going to happen, but it'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Interesting to see what happens with Lil Johnny and how this progresses and the new level of craziness that is going down between Bray Wyatt and John Cena. And a lot of things to wonder who's Rusev's next opponent. Who's Adam Rose going to work tonight? I'm interested in that. That should be interesting. So, yeah. Show was good and very enjoyable. So, yeah, check it out if you get a chance to. And in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. If you'd like our Facebook fan page, then you're more than welcome to literally like our Facebook fan page. It's Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you'd like to send me a friend request on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. Last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions, what you thought of Extreme Rules, and what you think about the direction WWE is going into the summer of 2014 and beyond. Or if you just want to talk about wrestling or anything else like Disney, Universal, Halloween Horror Nights, which I'm going to be shooting a video in the next couple of days talking about a little bit of speculation, interesting thing that may or may not be coming to the event this year, something to make people freak out. It's astronomical. You can send me an email at sirowendisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.